sports games. You know, we're talking. Yeah, there we go. That's it. All right. And so the Sega got a bit of a head start on the 16-bit console era. So 8-bit Benny was the first. Was like, you know, the NES. You know, the really shit, cruddy sort of pixelated stuff. That's 8-bit technology. And then the Super Nintendo, the 16-bit. All right. So that's Sega Genesis. We call it Mega Drive, right? We call it Mega Drive.
Yeah, we had it Mega Drive.
Yeah. Right. So that's the console that Sonic came out on. And you had a guy, the president of Sega of America was a guy named Tom Kalinske. And it was his idea to bring out Sonic as part of the game bundle that came with every single Sega Mega Drive Genesis. And that's why Sega shot up into the stratosphere. So was that your first experience, Sonic? Was that your first ever game?
No, to be fair, I was the Nintendo route. I had them both. So I did have all the consoles. I never had a PlayStation, but back in them, I didn't have a NES, but I had the Snes. So the 16-bit for me was the Snes always. And then Mum and Dad had a Mega Drive that I'd play every now and then.
Right.
I've still got it.
Do you reckon that was a Mum and Dad thing? The Sega Mega Drive? Because my mum had a Mega Drive. She played pinball all day.
It's got to be. Because obviously I had the Nintendo and I'd be like playing Super Mario and like Link to the Past and that, right? But then Mum and Dad would be playing the classics. So we had like this cartridge that everyone had, right? Everyone had it.
Yep.
Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, and Golden Axe, right? So that's what they'd be doing. I remember them saying like they were playing Sonic and that, just zooming around and just flying off the screen.
Do you remember Altered Beast?
I remember it just being the shit thing with like throwing faces at you. I never really mad on the Sega. I was more into the SNES, but like as I've got older, I appreciate the games a lot. Like it was mad looking back at the war they had and like Bants now, innit? Like Sega does, but Nintendo don't, and all that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I love that because again, they absolutely killed it. That was the thing that made Sega the best at that time, was reducing the price of the console and bundling it with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
but and here's another little bit of trivia for you, all right? So when it came to licensings, Nintendo was really like strict on what sort of games third-party developers could make. And Sega didn't give a fuck.
Shit, didn't they?
They still are, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're a software developer now. But there's a lot of games for the Sega Mega Drive Genesis that you'll notice that are just come in various different quality, all different standards. And that's where they went wrong. Is that they just let any old shit game come out. Like they had Sonic, and that was really it. I mean, you got Streets of Rage, and it sounded a little bit better when you did Mortal Kombat. You could have the blood and all that, whereas Nintendo was a bit more family friendly. And here's a funny thing for you, right? So there was real controversy back then that you could pull someone's spine. Like you can imagine now the 16-bit console. Who was it? Sub-Zero or Scorpion that did the finisher with the pulling the skull?
I think it was Scorpion on that one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right. So you look at that now and you just shrug your shoulders thinking, oh, it's a cartoon, right? But back then, that was in like Congress. They were voting on like, oh, this is causing kids to kill people.
It was cinematic graphics as well, so it was realistic. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah. And Sega brought out a peripheral called the Sega Cd, and you could literally you'd have motion. I can't remember the term for it, but it's like interactive. It was a piece of shit, basically what it was. But it was like home cinema thing going on, and then you had to choose what happened next. And
didn't you have that weird game with there was the rapey thing or something going on?
Yeah,
that weird murder house, and it was like, right, well, what happens next? Like the girl gets cut up and put in a bin, or she gets gang raped by a serial killer in her stories. I was like, oh, what?
And that's what led to having to introduce the age rating on video games, because they weren't around at that time.
Yeah.
So Congress get together, Parliament get together, and they're like, this is not on and all that. This shouldn't be happening in video games, because it's never been done before. It hadn't been done before.
Crazy, innit?
And that was the beginning of the end for Sega. That's what few people don't realize. And then they brought out the next. So the next lot of consoles that come out is the 32-bit consoles, right? You got the Sony PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and Nintendo 64, which was actually a 64-bit. And that's where our childhood comes into it.
100%. That for me, I always remember I was the N64 kid, and I was all my friends had the PlayStation, and I think at the time being young, I wanted a PlayStation just because they all had one. Because you always want to be the same, and they all want the N64 because that's what I'd got. But then, as I realised, like the games on the N64 for me were just like they're just incredible. Like I remember my mum and dad saying they got it out on Boxing Day. I think I got it. Was it 90? When did it release? Was it 96 or 97?
96, 97 in the UK. Yeah.
So I got one.
Yeah.
I got one. It sounds mad because we're talking like being 6 years old, which is like how old mine's kiddos they're going to be at Christmas this year, right? But I remember vividly opening it up. I had Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, we had Mario Kart, and then we got GoldenEye and all. So obviously, Happy Christmas, Dad. Like, but they were just like out of this world. I'll never forget them. And like just the time and the immersion on it. Like it's just and like the 3D graphics and stuff. I'm watching one of the streamers I watch at the minute, Jerky Worms. We're watching him play Mario 64 for the first time, and it's hilarious, right? But there's this bit I never realised because you don't read when you're a kid, so you just skip through, right? But when you first get to the castle, it stops you, doesn't it? And he goes, "Hi, I'm Lakitu, and this is you're watching Mario TV, and I'm gonna follow you around with this camera." Like, and it dawned on me that this is the first time like you've had a 3D platform game or anything, right? So they've had to come up with it. And he was like, "Why is this camera is shit? Like, why do I want to go zoom in and out?" And I'm like, "Dude, this is the first time that anyone has ever 3D platformed on anything." Like
Z-Axis they called it, wasn't it?
Yeah. No one knew what they were doing. Yeah, it was like, how do you get this guy in like the real world? Like, and then that brings up this whole new thing, right? It was like second person video games, going off on a tangent here. But there was a mission in a driver game or something where you are controlling a car in front, but the character you are at that time is a car behind you. So you're chasing the character you're playing. It sounds like weird Inception shit. They called it like, someone went in and said this is like second person gaming. But you go back to this
I've seen this video. This was Driver 5, San Francisco.
That's the one.
Yeah, you could switch between cars. Yeah. That's a great video.
It's just a good video, isn't it? Like, but it's really odd. But like I was watching him playing Mario and I was like, fuck, this is like third person. Like you're playing this third person 3D platformer, but you're actually watching it as the guy being a cameraman, right? So you're the little guy in the cloud zooming around, like following you, and you're watching yourself, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
So not only did they make the first third-person 3D platformer game, they also invented the concept of the 2D, not 2D, like the second-person.
So you're not actually playing Mario, you're playing the camera.
Yeah, well, you're playing Mario, but you're seeing you playing as Mario from the perspective of someone watching Mario playing.
That's crazy.
Here's an interesting bit, right? So there's a part of the castle in Mario 64 where it's just a room with a mirror, and you can see the reflection behind you with the fucking Lakitu on the cloud. Yeah, and I've thought, has that ever been done before? Reflections like that, because that's a big deal in games.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
I know,
like,
but it's funny. So yeah, on one hand you've got Mario 64, which is like top tier of that generation, and on the other side you've got Bugsby 3D for the PlayStation, which was fucking god awful. Not saying PlayStation's bad, but they made an attempt and they didn't do too well with it.
I think, in my opinion, like we go through the Sega nailed it when they said like we make the games and Nintendo don't, so we're cool. Like Nintendo won't do it because they're family friendly, and they are, but you just can't beat them games. Like still to this day, Nintendo AAA titles. Like I'm a fanboy. I've got all the consoles, but like your Mario Kart 8 is still 50 quid from day one. Even if you buy it now, it's like 4 years old. It's still 50 quid. All your top tier Nintendo games, they're never going to drop in price. The resale value is high. You just can't get them at the minute. Mental. Whereas like like you say, you fucking Bunny 3D and that. It's just
Bugsby, fucking hell.
Bugsby. But that was it. They had the development, they had the team, but they were like rock stars, weren't they? Like your Shigeru Miyamoto, your Eiji Aonuma doing the Marios and the Nintendo, the Segas, and they were really pushing it. But
that was it. Anytime they bring a game out, they always want to make sure that it's innovative. You see that with every version of a game, like, and sometimes it works against them, sometimes it don't, because like with the Wii U and all that, they're like, we're not bringing out a Star Fox game until we can make it Wii U compatible, and I couldn't get into it. I bought it for my nephew because I wanted to play it.
Just shite.
He was the only one, he's the only one that had a Wii U.
Some of them need to just hang up, like, and not bother. But they've had the next one for me, like Zelda through and through for me, always and forever. That's my jam.
Right, okay, let's go. So 1998, Ocarina of Time comes out. All right, what were your first thoughts on Ocarina of Time?
I remember getting through the first dungeon and thinking, yeah, this is rad, the Deku Tree. And then I turned it off and I started again and done the first dungeon and then I took it off. And I think at one point every morning I used to wake up for school, jump in the bath because we didn't have showers back then, get your quick bath, eat your breakfast, and after that, while waiting for...
Oh, you've muted. What's going on?
His headset has run out of battery.
I don't know, we'll fix it in post. That's all right, man. Just use your laptop. We can hear you.
Well, that's a bad start. Anyway, right, so
don't worry about it, man. Fucking hell.
Fix it in post. Don't worry.
We'll fix it in post.
I
got to give him my whole introduction.
Fix it in post. So I'm here, like, I'll plug my headset in, and like, what happens is, I forget to turn the fucking power on. So I'm on charge now. Anyway, where was I? Right, so yeah, you wake up in the morning, get ready for school, wait for Mum and Ali to get ready for school, getting the drop off, and I would do that dungeon every day without fail. So I would wake up, do the entire tutorial, the first dungeon, finish the Deku Tree, and be like, right, Sam, that's been 12 minutes. And I swear, like, if there was a proper speed run, I could go and do it properly, but like, that's just how good them games were.
Did it not occur to you to press start and B and you'd save the game?
Yeah, but where's the fun in it when you can do it quicker and quicker? Like,
no, that's cool. I get that. Are you aware of speed running in Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, like what, 7 minutes or something silly now?
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, like, I've never even.
It's not a speed run, bro. They just go for a walk.
Yeah,
but it counts.
They do some weird stuff where they warp into the Deku Tree and then they can walk from there into Ganon's castle, and it's just mental.
Crazy.
But it takes the fun out of it,
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like them dungeons. It's mad. That game was sick. And then I remember you get your first 3 stones and you're like, yeah, wicked, right? Done all this. I met all the people. This is quality. Right, Hyrule Castle, here we go. And then you're adult Link and you're like, oh shit, this game's like legit. And then everything just goes to shit. And then you're like, I was terrified of the zombies that were in the castle square. Fuck this, get away. Like, and then I don't know, it just become this mad thing. Like, I think looking back now, like, it's crazy. Like,
it's quite frightening, yeah, because people have tried to come up with theories like what it represents and what it means. Like, so it's like the innocence of childhood. Everything's nice and sunny and relaxed and all that, and then there's that sort of daunting reality of adulthood, right?
Yeah. Everyone's a blood-sucking creature trying to get what they can out.
Yeah. You come out the Temple of Time, you can see that the Goron's Mountain.
Yeah, the fiery ring.
The ring's going around it. Hyrule Lake is completely drained. Everyone's moved to Kakariko Village.
There was the guy in Castletown, the guy that was like the guard just out after the bridge. And then you go in. Remember, he had all the pots. He becomes a Poe, doesn't he? And he's like,
you go ghost hunt for him. Yeah.
That's it.
But I know it's a great game for what it done and all that, and I know it holds a special place in people's hearts, especially our age. But playing it now, I tried playing it last year, and I find there's a lot of flaws in the game in its pacing. The way you sort of have to like go from one end of the map, and then you have to go to what's that meow going on? Is that a legit?
Cat, mate.
Oh, it's a real cat. It sounded like a fake, like a sound effect.
No, it's like a real cat, bro.
One of those late night Japanese game shows, you know what I mean? No, they got dog.
No, my dog's here. You're getting her all excited.
So there's a lot of back and forth going on, right? But then the next Zelda game that comes out is Majora's Mask.
They had Zelda game, in my opinion.
I don't care what one says, and I'll tell you why it's better, and we can validate one on this one, right? They had it took 5 years to make Ocarina of Time, right? So from 93 to 97 it took them, right? They had 1 year to make Majora's Mask, so they had to come up with a radical idea, and that was the 3-day time limit.
Yeah.
Sorry to change subject here for a second, but like that's the same with like Fallout 3 and New Vegas. They had a year to make New Vegas, and it's 10 times better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was the assets, isn't it? Once you've spent your time building your assets, like obviously the first 3D Zelda is massive. And the game itself still looks mad different from the Space World demo they had in like the mid 90s that they said this is what Zelda's going to be. Like it still looked crazy different from that. So like you have to spend your time to build it. And then like you say, the console's on the end of its lifespan. Like, well, you need to get some more Zelda out. And you know what? It was the best thing they ever did. But they did a similar thing with when they run with these mad ideas. You had Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, yeah,
Remember that
So-
game, yep.
So I don't know if you ever knew about that one, but the guy, it was done by Capcom on one of the licensing ones, right? And the guy originally, I can't remember his name, that was the director of it, but they were basically trying to port, I think, a Link. Yeah, it was A Link to the Past. Was it that one? The one on the
That was for
Snes.
Yeah, that was the one.
So they were trying to do a port of that for the Game Boy, and it didn't really work. So this Capcom director went, well, we're going to help him with something, so let's just go and build this mad thing. So we went like loopy, and they had like side scrolling, and they put Goombas in it and a chain chomp, and they had this story on that they're on an island and there's a giant sleeping fish, and they just went, and there's like a talking crocodile, and they just went weird and weird and weird, and then it's like hands down one of the best Zelda games we've ever had. And like they had the remake of it last year, and it's just, and if you go in, if you put the effort in on one of these weird ideas, Majora's Mask, which like the theories on that and what it actually represents, I like the one about it's the four stages of, or the stages of grief in it, in death, and that's what they reckon.
Funny enough, we covered that in one of our previous podcasts with Ryan Harvey. It was the Kubler-Ross model, the 5 stages of grief, and like how does it go again? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
Yeah.
So, and I'm totally on board with that. I like the theory that they've come up with. They said that Link's actually dead. They say that Link's dead, and then the creator's like, no, that never happened, and whatever. And they keep going back and forth. But what was so clever about it as well is like you only had 4 dungeons, whereas Ocarina of Time had something like 7 dungeons, 7, 8, something like that. It was crazy.
More than that, you had 6. You had your 6 gems at the end, didn't you? No, it's 5.
5, and then
it
you
was
had
the first
3
3 and
dungeons
then a 5. That was it. So you had 9, and then the tower. Well, you had about 10 dungeons in the end, wasn't it? But yeah, Majora's was literally the 4.
So what makes Majora's Mask more superior is its level layout and design. So you have Clock Town, which is in the middle of the map, and then you've got north, south, east, and west of each dungeon.
Yep.
So you've got this sort of centralized hub. And so I'm trying to think where I'm going with this. But everything is easily accessible. And even if you complete the game in a couple of hours with the 4 dungeons, you've got all these side quests that the NPCs are on a time schedule.
It's crazy.
So,
I remember like they had the bomber's notebook, when you given the bomber's notebook, and it's like, right, and this is where you're logging all your stuff. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, I remember I had a book with it. I used to keep it next to it, and it was like, right, at this time you start Kathy's quest, right? And you go and you meet him at the fishing hole. And you've got you see him like stalking at that girl's door or whatever. And then I was writing it all down in a book, and I'd be like, right, was it midnight on the first day? And you see that weird guy doing that weird dance, right?
Yeah.
You play the song of Unit, and then you get that weird hat that looks like a knob on your head, right? And then you can do the dance.
I remember the dance.
That was it. And then you end up like, you're just like, right, here we go, yeah. So we know that we've only got X amount of time to do this, right? That's cool. So we need to do this first dungeon. But before I go, right, I want the bunny ears. So I need to go and sort out the postman. And to get that, I need to go and do this. And then I get the weird dance. And then I go and have to shoot the aliens at the fucking farm. And like,
they frightened me as a kid.
They're terrifying. They're awful.
Oh man, it was such a dark game. Because I was 9 years old when I got the game. I got it for my 9th birthday, and the game had only been out for a couple of months by this point, and I wasn't a very good problem solver at that age. I couldn't think outside the box, so I'd get stuck for like months at a time before you met some kid. Like, you'd always meet some autistic kid in the playground who was just like, I have the answers. And you'd be like, come to my house. Hi mum, this is Chris. Chris will be staying over.
Chris needs to learn.
But like, you just have some kid walking on his tiptoes with that weird little turquoise lunch bag, and he just knew all the answers. I was like, how do you know this? He's like, I know. So you invite him around your house, and he'd be like, you need to put a bomb on this so the sun can come through.
Oh, his fucking tiptoes.
He had short hamstrings. I'm not about Never Street. This is a different kid.
You gotta cut that out. Walking like a dinosaur. Like.
Yeah, so kids today will never realise that you had to, go to the depths of you had to go to certain corners of the playground to get answers.
There was no internet. There was no internet. You had Nintendo Power if you were lucky.
Yeah.
Like, but trying to get all their masks, man. Like, and you would want all the masks purely for that ending, so you could just get like the Fierce Deity mask and be like, fucking I've won, and what?
Yeah, like, that was it. The Fierce Deity
but that was
mask.
it.
If you collected all 24 masks in the game, you got the Fierce Deity mask, and it was off the chain. And I even to this day, I've got a glitch where I can wear the Fierce Deity mask outside the boss rooms. It's
Yeah.
pretty useless, but it's just awesome doing it.
The thing about it with that, like, you know, like that, you get your rewards in it. You get rewarded for things. Like some of the games you play now, like, right, well, let's go and was it Spider-Man on the PS4? Great game, yeah.
Mhm.
You collect all the suits, it's amazing, and then you end up with a Spider-Man in leopard print pants costume, right? So you got a Spider-Man mask and leopard print pants, right? Which is alright. That's funny. That's a funny
Kind of
thing.
sexy.
But it ain't gonna make me go around and waste all my fucking time 100% in the game, like for a pair of pants.
Yeah.
But you go and get all these masks, and you spend your waking days playing this game on the loop, making sure you get absolutely everything just for this one fight where you can wear this one mask to go, yeah, fucking what, mate? Come on
Yeah.
then.
Oh,
Braveheart it.
it was unbelievable. It was off. Like I used to draw Fierce Deity Link at school just because I was obsessed with him. I was like,
It's
oh my
so
god, he's
cool.
amazing. And that's another funny thing as well. Like back then, when a game, once you got that game, that was it. You didn't. There was no fix it in post. There was no day one patch. There was none of this nonsense of like, oh, we'll fix it. You know, it's like that was the game you got. So you couldn't pay for things. You had to get them in the game.
Yeah, that was the best way. Like, and games back then were expensive, and it wasn't a disposable thing. And you know, I'm sure all of us younger, we didn't get fucking games every week. Like, you know, I spent some time working in game, didn't I? And like the amount of these like scroty little kids you get. I remember doing the midnight launches, like. And the parents would be there, like, yeah, well, John's off tomorrow because cool. I'd be like, are you? I'd be like, are you for real? Like, one, the game's an 18. You're buying it for your 9-year-old who you're keeping off school for a day. Like, what's wrong with you, man? You need institutionalized.
I got to tell you a story about it. I got to tell the only time I ever went to a day launch of a game was GTA 5 back in 2013, right? And I remember I've already told this to Benny, right? But it's my favorite story. It's like the highlight of my life, right? So I'm walking past, I think it was Game or Game Station, whichever one it was, probably Game. And it was 9 o'clock at night, and there was already people out in camp chairs by this point. And I was just saying to my mate, like, look at these fucking losers. Let's go get drunk, right? So we went to the pub, and we got drunk to about 11:30 at night, and we showed up, and there was like, by this point, there was 50 people queuing outside the shop, and I'm like, oh, fuck, oh, well, whatever. And then the employees come out and started doing a raffle. And I'm like, all right, sound a little raffle, right? Guess what? I won the raffle, right? I got to bypass 50 people and walk into the shop to get my game first. But as I'm walking through, they've got the San Andreas theme tune playing, right, as I'm walking through the door. And I could just...
Oh, shit, here we go again.
And I could just feel these eyes burning through the back of my skull.
That's amazing. I've got a couple of funny, actually, midnight launch stories. Like, if we're on about it, I'll go for it, right? So, the first one was one I was working, and it was Black Ops 2. Right? Everyone loved Black Ops 2. And at this point, this was like peak COD, wasn't it? Like, everyone was going mad for it. And like the queue was over the road and then round the corner. I couldn't see where it ended up, right? And you had some guys queuing there for like they'd left when we'd finished, and like we were strolling back in at like 10 o'clock. And they were camp chairs and all that, giving it whatever. Don't you remember in Game Corp there used to be a little TV above the door, right? And they used to like play like video trailers and that. Right? So I gets in, do everything. I actually had a mustache painted on it. It's on my Instagram. I took a picture. It's like one of my first Instagram pictures, right? I want to find it and show you. Because I'll never forget this. It was so funny, right? So this is people that have been wanting this game for it. Like, I like Call of Duty. I didn't really care massively for it. I wasn't that great online. The zombies was fun, but I was never that guy. You know what I mean? I liked my Zeldas and all them, and like Paper Mario and that, right? But where are we?
Paper Mario Online, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Oh no, where's it gone?
Mario Party. Oh, remember that shit? I love
there
that.
We go. Right. So there's a pic. I don't know if you can see it. Right.
If you just hold it steady for a second, it should. I can see. Make it out. Yeah, I can make it out a little bit.
I'm going to send it you now. But that is me. Right.
We'll put it at the end of the video.
Yeah.
That's me. Right. Outside in this little TV, and these people have been queuing up for ages, and they were like gagging for the game. And this was at 11 o'clock at night. And I had the game on that little TV, and I took a step ladder and sat there like this, right? I started playing zombies, and they were going fucking mental, like, you fucking wanker, you fucking spoiling this, you fucking cock, why would you do that, you fucking shit, giving it all that, right? And I'm just like, quality, oi, oi, like just pure trolling, winding them up. And they were like, get to the box, we want to see what's going, what guns are in there, want to see. I'm like, nah, mate. I'm like, what's a box? And they were like, honestly, mate, it was like rioting, like it was ace.
Or before midnight.
Before
You were just
midnight,
playing
and
it
then
in front of everyone.
they were giving it all that. I'm playing it before them, and then like mouthing off something rotten, right? And then they get to the queue, and I'm stood there like on the till. I'm like, "Hi, can I help?" And they're like, "Oh, can I have my copy of my game, please?" I was like, "Nah, mate, it's sold out." And they were like, "Oh, I pre-ordered it." I was like, "Ah, you're the guy that give me the jip, yeah?" And they were like, "No." I'm like, "You fucking were, yeah?" Nah, mate. I'm joking at that. And then we had I went to what we had at band practice, and I was jamming with a couple of guys. We were playing Raw Sun. We had a band practice, and afterwards we were all going to go get Modern Warfare 3, right? And we pulled up in the Argos car park, and this was like 11 o'clock. And we were like, right, we'll all just get a couple of games when we get home. Like, none of us were working at the time because, you know, bums and that. So we walked round the corner, and literally, as you turned right for Argos, yeah, you know, like going into town, the fucking queue started.
Old school Argos or new school Argos?
New school Argos.
Oh, yeah.
So literally, imagine walking past Argos and the fucking queue for game station starts there.
No way.
Yeah. So like, I was like, this is a joke. So I walked round to the front, and mate Simon, who worked in there, was like, "All right, mate." I was like, "Yeah, I've come for the launch." I was like, "Your queue's round to fucking Argos," and he went, "Yeah, that's just mad." I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "All right, where you coming in?" I was like, "What?" Me and my two mates walked past this queue of people that had been queuing here for like 24 hours. So he was like, "Will you work here?" I was like, "Oh, I can't do that." Fucking right, man. Straight in. Open the door. This guy's like, I've been here for 72 hours. Fucking, I've been here for
72
9
hours.
days. I've been here for 7 days waiting for this guy. Mate,
I've been here since the game wasn't even publicly released yet.
I've been here since the E3 announcement.
But yeah, some people go mad for it, like launches. Like, I get it. It's kind of cool, but like,
I mean, if you're dead into a game, I get it. Like, I was there for New Vegas, man. I had a little boner in there at the front of the store, man.
I think is it the Yanks that take it to the extreme, or is it the Japanese, you reckon? Like,
both, I reckon.
Yanks. I got that hype for the Nintendo Switch. That was the last time I got majorly hyped on a console on a game, was the Switch. And you know what? It's the best thing I ever bought. I bought Rue 1 for Christmas last year. He's now what, 5 years old. He's completed New Super Mario Brothers. He's completed Mario Odyssey. I'm gonna get him on Zelda when he can read. So I picked up 3D Mario World. We're playing that today. Like, I'm gonna stream with him tomorrow and see what. Just watching a kid get frustrated playing video games, because like,
oh man,
you know,
I
like,
used to lose the plot.
Yeah,
Streets of Rage, man.
It's the funniest thing. Like, I just sit there and I'm laughing the whole time. He's like, just playing, like, he's like, and I'm like, if you throw that, it's going in the bin. You won't have it back. He's like, I hate it. I love it. I don't want it to go. I'm like, it's got to get on the internet, mate. I'll put it. Yeah, any donations is just pop money. Come on.
That would be good. Yeah, you have like an angry kid series, you know.
So funny, but like, yeah, it's just, he has no idea of like the hardships we had, of the hard games. Games were hard. Like, we played games and it was solid. Like, because it was get good or you don't play it, and it wasn't like not playing it because you had no other games to play. So like, what do you do?
I remember there was one game, like there was a lot of shit games that I used to really play a lot of, because we never really had open world games back then.
No,
you didn't have GTA. So I remember playing Naboo Starfighter on the N64. And just going around the little Naboo Starfighter, like around the maps, and all like, I'm flying the Starfighter. I'm like, now this is pod racing. You know what I mean? And it was like, and then you see the reviews for that game, and people hate the game, but I think that was an awesome game.
I loved it. It was ace.
Yeah. You know, I was more Naboo Starfighter than I was Rogue Leader. You know, it was just my kind of. I preferred the spaceships. I preferred the prequel spaceships.
Naboo's where it's at, man. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're prequel kids. Like, as much as we can laugh at it for how embarrassing it was, like, we're prequel kids.
Do you know what? As much as I hate episode 1 now, see when it first came out,
I loved it.
Yeah.
So even like the Prime H. Like, I remember my dad saying, like, that fucking Jar Jar Binks is just like, I don't understand why you like him, Elliot. And I'm like, Jar Jar Binks is fucking awesome.
We could understand why they didn't like them.
Musical Jar Jar Binks.
Kids today will never understand like how good our Happy Meals were. Like, I remember KFC when Godzilla came out in 1998. You got the glove, and every time you opened his mouth, it goes. And like, I remember like just some of the mental toys that came with it. Like, you go to France and get a Happy Meal, they just fucking throw a DVD at you, and it goes, here, you make yourself happy. Right? Like it's a film, an animated film about dancing penguins. You know, Happy Feet, whatever it's called. But like the toys we got were amazing.
Wicked. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, you know.
No,
No,
I
but they
got it.
were.
But
It's,
they're the
it's
best toys in the
true.
world. Yeah, remember the Hot Wheels collection? Remember, like, it was like a
Yeah.
4-week thing. So, like, you get the little red car with its little course, and then the second week you get the little Hot Wheels truck, and you could fit 2 cars in there.
Yeah.
Following week you get another Hot Wheels car, and it's
It
like
was the Burger King. It was the Burger King with the Pokemon gold little slabs. Do you remember them? With the
vaguely.
Pokemon movie.
We never had a Burger King in Corby or anywhere
No,
nearby.
but if you were lucky and you begged your mum, like when you went and seen the Pokemon movie, you'd be like, "Oh, can we get a Burger King? 'Cause it's over there." Like, oh, I don't want a burger, and you don't give a fuck about the burger. You're just like, "I got the gold thing." Yeah. That was it. But like, yeah, games these days are just easy.
I bet you've
Right.
still got that as well, haven't you?
No, I got rid of a load of this stuff. I
Oh.
boxed it all up. I kept some of it, and a lot of it did go. But like with kids, I used to like have my little treasured like collector's edition Zelda stuff. So I'd have the Wind Waker when it came out on the Wii U. I'd have this little statue like of Ganondorf, like with the 2 swords, and it was like in
Yeah.
this dome, and it was ace. And then I also had a Link's Awakening amiibo. I had this special amiibo, like, and they were super rare. And I had it in the box, and I was like, this lives in the box and lives in my wardrobe, and I'll never touch it. I think I checked the price on eBay like a while back, and they were like 40, 50 quid, and they're going up already. I think they've re-released it, so it's not as valuable. But
Yeah.
he got hold of them, and then he took the dome out, and then he fucking snapped the leg off, and he's just playing with this thing, and I
no.
was like, you know what? I'm not even mad. Like, how can I be mad? Until he took my fucking amiibo out the wardrobe, opened it from its case, and then left it on the side. And then he started playing with it, and I thought, you know what? I'm not angry. And then the fucking dog got at it, and then it has no head. I was like, you fucking bastards. You ruined my toys.
And here's one other thing that the kids won't understand: 4-player split screen.
Yeah.
And that was GoldenEye was the first one. That was
And,
the one thing that Nintendo had better. The one thing Nintendo had going for it that the PlayStation didn't. The PlayStation tried, but they just didn't have the
Just couldn't do
games
it.
that would support
Mate,
it.
I had some good TLC matches on SmackDown too.
Oh, behave, man. Come on. Even the best wrestling game was on the N64. You had
It was bigger. It was bigger, wasn't it? You had
Yeah.
Raw. Was it Raw?
it was the WWF one on
Yeah.
it was like
SmackDown.
SmackDown 2 or something. It was like
Yeah.
the best, even to this day, one of the best wrestling games. And it was N64. You ain't said the only thing you had on the PlayStation that we didn't have was Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
True.
the only game I like on
Final-
PlayStation
Final-
1.
Final
MGS
Fantasy
1.
7. Yeah. Final
MGS
Fantasy
2
7
so
as well.
balls, man.
Never played Final Fantasy. Even to this day, I've never done Final Fantasy 7, and
Oh,
I'm
mate.
waiting for this
Final
remake.
Fantasy 10 is the best game ever made.
Yeah, I've heard about
10.
that. Number
Yeah.
10. That came out for the PlayStation 2. That was the
in my
next one.
opinion. I just love it. That's my favorite game.
I think for me, like the best thing about video games in the era we were is spending my IT lessons with Ali Fowler, because we were both like on the same wavelength. It was always Smash Brothers, and it was like it was Smash or Die, right? And Pokemon. Even to this day, like now, it's whenever he texts, it's fucking Smash Brothers or Pokemon, right? And you know, we won't see each other for 9 months, year and a half, whatever. Everyone's growing up, got their own thing going on. But as soon as there's like a new Smash character announcement, that's it, bam, straight on the text, and it's like, right, when you're getting online, let's give you a fucking hiding. And like, he was just always so good at it. Like, and there was a couple of people that were just like unreal. I love playing Smash. Like, I'm a good Smash player, but he's just like.
Did you ever play Brett?
Brett was good.
frustrating.
So I've heard Brett was good. I played him a couple of times at Ali's, but like Brett was good. Ali's just something else, and like I'll play him now online. Like if I'm streaming, we played.
He's a massive anime fan and pure into all. He's mad on it all, isn't he?
But like, it's just stupid. Like, how can you just be so fucking good at this bastard game? Like, fuck off. Like, I will play for like an hour, and like, I think we jumped on once, and I had on the day, if I can't concentrate long enough, right? I've just not got. I swear, this the ADHD that I would never diagnose with. I'm like, I just can't do it. But planned to play. I jumped on and I went Mewtwo. Like, I'll just go random all the time and just. There's no point in me trying. I've got a couple of good characters where I'll win, but against Ali, there's no point. Yeah. So this one time we played, I went as Mewtwo randomly, and he went as I think one of his best characters. Like, and I fucking 3-stock won him, beat him completely. Like every stock, and he was like rematch, and I was like,
Rematch.
He was like, nah, let's do that match again because I'm ready to smash. I was like, nah, I tell you what, mate, I'm calling it a night. That's it for me. Like, and he was like, no, you got to come back and play again. I was like, nah, fucking 1-0, mate. See you later, bye. That was it for that week, and I just done it.
I just had a random memory of Ali Fowler pop into my head. Right, you ready for this? I didn't know I had this memory. Right, I was with Carl Ashford, and we were making our own Beyblades at the time because his mum used to work at Argos, so he used to get every single Beyblade. So he always had the best shit. And I managed to save up enough money to get a few Beyblades here and there and exchange and shit. And I managed to customize my own Beyblade. And we went up to Ali Fowler's house, and he just sat there eating chicken nuggets. And he goes, "What's up, lads?" And we're in year 6 at the time, right? And I'm like, "We're starting a Beyblade team." And he goes, "Let me see your Beyblade." Right? And I show him my Beyblade. He just looks at it like he's got his he's got his fish, what do you call them? Fish fingers, just laying there. And he's just like looking at it like, "It's not bad. It's not bad." Who just shows up to a stranger's house? Well, not a stranger's house, but who just shows up randomly at some kid's house? Starting a
What, you and Carl actually planned to go to Ali's house?
We just showed up at his house. Yeah, we're starting a Beyblade. You got to bear in mind, we watched the cartoons on Cartoon Network, and we thought that's how it went down. You know what I mean? Those 30-minute long fucking Beyblade battles, dragons coming out of the.
You're like, let it rip, let it rip, and you get stuck. You're like, shit.
I remember I begged my mum to buy me the actual little official Beyblade stadium, right? And it was just a piece of plastic shit that cost £8. She was like, "This cost £8." She was fuming. It was just like, she looks like something you put your Easter eggs in. You know what I mean?
I love it, man. I used to love it all.
So what was your character on Smash Bros? Who was your favourite character?
What, now or then?
I don't know, because I'm only familiar with Melee.
Mine back then was, what's the little pink dude from Mario called? Kirby.
So that's the pink guy from Kirby, not Mario.
That's the one, yeah. Same.
God, sure.
So
sorry.
Smash Bros now. So Melee is notoriously always the best competitive game, right? But when we were at school, there was a Brawl was coming out, and then they would tease every single day. They would release like a new little picture or a new statement, and every now and then we get a new character. I don't remember if you've been at school on IT at the time. You used to have to go on them proxy websites. Do you remember?
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. Yeah.
So you had all that, and like you just stick porn up and that on the computer. I shit you not. We're on it. Like we were doing IT, and you had to make a website. It was like your coursework, yeah. And we went in because they handed the memory stick around, like in the lesson, at the end of the lesson, right? Upload your coursework, yeah. And so we went in and replaced I'm not going to say who, but we replaced someone's pictures, right, with just like massive, fat, black, naked women, like all the pictures. So like they got sent off for examination. It was just like these big, massive MILF pictures, and the guy would like, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh no, close that. But like, so we'd be in IT. Yeah, it'd be in IT, like you have to get your proxy in, and that was boxed. So you find the new one, right, and then we'd be on this Japanese Smash Bros website, like just scrolling through the text and being like, right, nothing. And he'd be like, it says Sonic, and then you go in and like Sonic the Hedgehog's in, right? So then in the end, like now, Smash is like this mad. It's almost like a history game. Like the new Smash Bros, you've got, well, they put in. Originally, you got Sonic the Hedgehog was the first third-party character, which was massive at the time. So you've got Sega and Nintendo coming in a fighting game. You got Sonic, and then you had Snake from Metal Gear Solid, and you're like, shit, man, like that's crazy. Then the next one comes out, and then they added Mega Man, which obviously a huge Capcom.
Snake was trash though.
I dig Snake, man. I'll play Snake and I'll kick anyone's ass as Snake. Apart from
but you can if you pick up a character and you can really master it, you can kick anyone's ass. It really can.
Yeah. Well, to get back to your story, to sum it up quickly, right? Nowadays, Smash, you've got fucking Banjo and Kazooie. You've got my best characters. I got a guy called Little Mac who is from Punch Out, the old NES game. But he's notoriously like bottom tier character, but I play him I won an online tournament once as him. I was like, screenshot, never forget. So Little Mac, I play King DDD, who's the giant penguin from Kirby.
Yeah.
Just because he's a troll character. He normally lies on his side, and I'll do roly-polies and just annoy people. I play Snake just to spam buttons and whack grenades about and just be irritating. I like anything I can do that just annoys people. Like, if I'm playing someone that's really, really good, like, as long as I can get one kill like by just annoying. If I can annoy the fuck out of you and then just kill you one cheeky time, I'm happy. Like I'm not bothered. I was like.
It's an interesting history of Smash Bros. I was looking into it randomly a couple of weeks ago, and originally it was going to be this weird game that this
Pepsi.
second party, something like I don't know, but it was basically like I think Nintendo at the time was sort of lacking on the sort of multiplayer fighting games. PlayStation was sort of dominating that era, and so it was Sega Saturn for a little bit. And these guys, they weren't even associated with Nintendo; they were just sort of contracted with them, and they had this game, and you can see early pictures of it, like these 4 little polygons. And then they showed it to Nintendo. I think they're called HAL Laboratory. This company.
So it was HAL Laboratory, and it was Masahiro Sakurai who made the Kirby game, and that was his kind of in.
Yep.
And he wanted to make this a Nintendo fighting game, and he showed you're right, with the 4 people. It was called like Pepsi Man at the time. The demo was, and he showed it to Miyamoto, who was like the head of game development at Nintendo at the time, and he just shut it down and said, nah. Like, and he said, well, if we put these Nintendo characters in, it would be great. And he said, no, you ain't doing it. Like, just shut it there and then, didn't he? So he went behind their back, made the game. I think he maybe spoke to what was his name? He was
the one that passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? I know you're on about though. But yeah, he passed away in like 2015. It's all right. No worries.
I'm going to Google it and then you can cut it in post.
I'm sure one fan will let us know in the comments.
Iwata? Satoru Iwata.
That's it. Cool. Right, yeah, so they made the game anyway, so fair play to them for that. And they presented it to Miyamoto, and eventually they're like, all right, fine, because they put all the Nintendo characters in it. And what made it so unique was that most fighting games up until that point were focused on, once you zero got to health, game over. But this was percentages. It goes up in percentages. So the higher the percentage, the more vulnerable you are to fall off the map. And that was very unique, very clever. I remember getting Smash Bros, the original one, in 1999 on the N64, and I was just blown away by it. Like, if you just try and play it now, it was awful. And then Melee came out for the GameCube, which was just the definitive version. I remember trying to get Mewtwo. You had to play in multiplayer for 20 hours to get Mewtwo.
Yeah, Brett did that for me. I stayed around his house one night and just left for GameCube. Yeah. Or no, I think he did something with the memory cards. I can't remember, but he did something for me.
But even then, like, I remember Brawl come out. And I imported it from America. I had to get my disc so it would work, and then I'd import it, right? And then even then, you could do this massive story mode that they had. And it was like, yeah, that's cool. I'll do your big story mode and 100% it because I love the game. But right now, I don't give a fuck. I just want to play Smash Bros. With all the characters. And you had your options, and it was like, do this specific thing. Or I think it was the first 10 smashes, you'd get Luigi. And then after 20 smashes, you'd get the next. And there was like, in the end, you had to do 850 battles to unlock every character in the game. Right? Wow. And I think when it came out.
Is that the one on the Wii U?
The one on the Wii.
Oh, right, yeah.
So me and my mate Matt come out from America 3 months early. Because back then, even still, games out in America, you were waiting months and months, weren't you? Until it come here.
I had to get my family were on holiday in America at one point, and I begged them to buy me F-Zero GX for the GameCube. Yeah. And then as soon as I got the copy, because it came out about 2 months before it came out in the UK, and I just couldn't wait. I was just like, I used to stare at pictures as a kid, like at school. I used to look at pictures on the internet, like I just fantasize about playing it. And so eventually I get the game, and I rush home and I put the disc in, and it says, sorry, we can't play this disc. I had to go get a freeloader.
Yeah, that was it. The freeloader, man.
So I know what you're saying, like, that anticipation that we had the sense to be like, oh, it comes out early in the US, well, I'm gonna go buy one.
Yeah.
From abroad or whatever.
The only one that ever worked was the Pokemon games on the old DSs. We got them imported. So I think I had Pearl, which is good because today they just announced that they're doing the remake because it's 10 years old.
Right. Yeah.
Was it 10 or 15?
So sorry, there was a bit of controversy when Brawl came out, especially for the hardcore Melee fans, because they said it didn't have the same, because there was a bit of a flaw in Melee that actually turned out to be a massive thing. It was that weird thing where you could sort of halt in midair.
Yeah.
Sort of, what's the name
like
of that trick?
Wave dashing.
Wave dashing, that was it. And obviously, a lot of the Melee community was saying that they nerfed Brawl.
Well, he hospitalized himself making Melee, didn't he? So Masahiro Sakurai, he's the creator of it. This is where I do get nerdy on it because so he does these directs now. So whenever there's a new character, he started doing these little videos of him showing you play it. And he's like, right, but he's just like comedy gold. He's so funny. But the guy, like, when someone like they make a game, yeah, and they like talk about the game they've made, and they're like, you know, I'm pretty cool. This guy is so fucking good at this game, which is like one of the best competitive fighting games in the world. He was showing off his new characters, right? And he would have one hand with a controller like that, and then on a second controller like this, right? And he was showing you how the new character would do stuff by playing against himself. Like there's 6 people in the room. Like, just give the other guy a controller, and he's like, so I'm going to show you how to do this, and he's like playing like that with 2 controllers on the table. It's mental. And he's just like, and that's how I do this. And then there was this funny little move, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
that's insane.
You care that much about this community that he's built and this game that he's put his life on the line for. I think the only reason, like, I think his wife kicked off, like, you put yourself in hospital doing this last time. I think he worked like 230 days without a break, and it was just like 20-hour days.
He only had about a year to make this game, because 99 was when Smash Bros. The N64 came out, and 2001 was when it came out on the GameCube, so he didn't have a lot of time to make this game. And to think about the size of the game, the graphics, everything about Melee is amazing.
It's like 3 times as big. The roster was just massive. Like,
yeah, young Link, Dr. Mario, Mewtwo.
Young Link's still like top tier.
Well, Mr. Game & Watch, right? So here's a funny one, right? So I'm living in Weymouth, right? For years, I used to be on. I drive now, but when I used to get the bus going to and from the island, you'd see like a little triangle sign with the hump, right? And someone had put a little Mr. Game & Watch above the hump, and it was there for years.
That is amazing. Like, but it's these like left wing characters they just put in. Like, you know what? Like, let's put all these cool things in. Like, there's you had all these Fire Emblem characters. Like, now Fire Emblem is massive in the West.
Yeah, Marth's my favourite. Marth's my favourite character to play on Melee.
And like, I remember there was a magazine at the time, and they found the leaked files, and there was Roy. Do you remember the whole Roy conspiracy? Like, the whole thing about that?
Well, I know the character, but I don't know what the story.
So in the magazines, they were like, right, well, Roy. There's this guy called Roy in Smash Bros, and everyone was like, yeah, it's fucking Roy Cooper, like Bowser's kid. Like, they're putting Roy Cooper in Smash Bros. Like, that's mental. And it was like this Fire Emblem character. Like, so this magazine found this file and leaked that Roy's going in because of like a translation thing. Like, yeah, Roy Cooper, it's got to be. And then like it was Roy from Fire Emblem, and everyone's like, who the fuck is Roy? Like, what is Roy?
It's funny you mentioned translation issues. Like, that's the reason why Donkey Kong's got his name, because eventually they're actually going to call him Monkey Kong. But because there's a mistranslation over the phone between the Japanese and the Americans, they called him Donkey Kong.
That's mad.
Because when you stop and think about it, it's like Donkey Kong don't make any sense.
Not even in the slightest. But it's such like a timeless thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you ever play the Donkey Kong games on the SNES? Because I never really got into Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country. But that was old Rare stuff. I don't know what it is. Like, I'll go back on the N64. We were just kind of, again, when we said about third party, and second party games, the biggest second party people at the time that when Nintendo were really working with was Rareware, weren't they?
Yeah.
So obviously, English company, like, you had GoldenEye, and then they had your Banjo-Kazooie, which is one of the best platformers of all time. I'm
streaming it at the moment on the Xbox.
Are you really?
Yeah,
so good.
I'm going to start from scratch though, because I've been a bit inconsistent with playing it. But now that I know the game mechanics, I'm just going to go commit to it.
So like your Banjo-Kazooie, they were just kind of the games that I kind of brought up on.
Conquer. I haven't played Conquer yet. I heard good things about that one. Apparently, it's a hard game to get for the original N64.
If you like movies, like, are you a good movie buff, like guy, you'll love Conquer, because it's just like, I think it starts and it's like a spoof of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
You know, the very start, and they like pan out, and there's like the people being the tables, and he's just sat there with his face drinking milk. Like, the start of Conquer is literally that, zooming out, and he's there with like this crown on and like drinking a glass of milk.
Man, I love that.
There's like aliens references and stuff, and it's just mad. But like, Rare were just great because they had that English comedy. Like, the games were just like top tier. Not even, put in Run for the Money with like the Nintendo, like Super Mario and that. Like, they put out their big hitter, and then Rare were just coming in. Donkey Kong 64, like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, like.
They were next level what Rare could do. Like, they were the best thing. I think they're one of the main reasons the N64, like, because I know like PlayStation outsold N64 3-to-1 ratio. So PlayStation 1 sold 100 million units, and I think Nintendo was something like just under 50 million.
Yeah,
or something like that. I can't remember the absolute figure, but 30 million, that was it. But I think one of the saving graces for the N64 was Rare,
100%. They clawed them through, and when they lost that partnership on the GameCube, it showed a massive toll because the GameCube was a flop. Like, I never really, like, being a kid, you don't really understand. You don't really care about the economics of the games industry, but like, Nintendo are lucky to still be in it. Like, they've got their great characters, and like their IPs, their first party, you know, Zelda sells consoles, Mario sells consoles, Mario Kart is still in the top 10 selling games week on week for the last 5 years. Like, these games sell consoles, but if no one's buying the consoles, then like, what's the point? And I think they obviously, the GameCube was a flop. I loved it. You know,
same.
you loved it. You had your Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine,
I remember Double Dash.
Double
Mario
Dash.
That was a big deal as well because you could do co-op 4-player on the same cart. And I remember games used to come out on a Friday. I don't know if they still do now, but Friday was always a big day. So I'll be at school excited. Sometimes I'd be off school. I'd say to my mum, Star Fox Assault's coming out today, mum. I won't be at school. You know what I mean?
Wait, I think if I ever said that to mum and dad, they'd be like, get the fuck out.
I know. But I remember, like, I used to get given £2 lunch money a day. That was £2, and that'll get you a lot. That'll get you a spicy chicken burger, and get you a donut, and get you a little fruit shoot drink, right? Those spicy chicken burgers were next level. Like, I love that bit. And you ever seen This Is England?
Yeah.
This Is England 90, and like by this point they've left school and all that, but they try. One of the friends is working as a dinner lady, and he says, "Oh, grab us some chips." Well, yeah, it's just different when school chips are different. It's all that. And I'm straight away, I'm like, what was in those spicy chicken burgers?
They were just like top tier, weren't they?
I've never had a burger like it.
I wonder if the school still lets you have that. Do you remember you had the year 10 and 11 queue, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, and you just walk through, like, get the fuck out of the way, kids. Get out of my way.
I remember,
Straight for the big boy queue.
I remember like year 11 and all that. I actually started eating all their food and all that, and I've just sat on my own on the lunch table like, this is fucking good food. Why does it take me 4 years to eat their food? You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's mad.
But so I would sort of semi-starve myself during year 7, year 8 because I'd only spend £1 for lunch and I'd save the other £1. And then eventually that would get to £40 so I could buy GTA for the Xbox or, buy Star Fox or the GameCube or whatever it was. But yeah, I know what you're saying about the GameCube. It was a flop, but you don't learn about this until you're older. The reason why it flopped, reason number one, it came on little tiny mini discs so they could avoid piracy. Yeah. But those discs only hold 1 gigabyte of information. So I
remember Resident Evil 2. I had all the Resident Evils, so that's another series I do love. But like, they were like 2 discs, and you get halfway through, and they're like, change the disc.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4. That was. Yeah. And that's what I mean.
Resident Evil 1 remake as well did that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So Nintendo always shot itself in the foot. So with the N64, they went with cartridges, which was a massive mistake, but it made the console cheaper. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the Sega. But if you look at games like Conker's Bad Fur Day or Perfect Dark for the N64, you can see the frame rate issues. They'll struggle to get to 15 frames, right? We'll look at our consoles now. We've got 60 to 120 frames now on our modern day consoles. But these games would struggle to get to 10. But back then, we didn't question it. We were just like, oh, it's a bit slow. What's going on? Yeah. We didn't realize, there's more than 5 characters on the screen.
But like, also, you've not got your YouTube like to jump in and find all these speedrunning things. Like I honestly don't know how we did it. Like, how did we do it? Like, you've got your old Zelda game, like some of them temples,
just
the water dungeon,
all day.
You're playing Ocarina of Time. You're doing that water dungeon, right?
The water temple. Start on that.
Yeah, it's a crock of shite, but we done it. We all did it, like, but we didn't have any other choice. Like, we just had to play it. It wasn't fun.
The water temple is one of those dungeons where like you'd have to stay up all night to complete it, and if you went to bed, you knew you were going to lose your thought track because you're literally having to keep memories of the key there, and then the key downstairs, and the water levels at the medium, and just fucking hell.
Come on, mate, no.
Drove me nuts. And I remember I had a girlfriend at the time. This girl was a bit of a bitch anyway, but like she'd be laying in bed next to me, and she was just like, turn it off. I was like, fuck off. If I don't be at the water temple now, I'll never beat it.
That's one of the first things when
this Ribena nearly went over the screen there, you dick.
Sorry, dude.
One of the first things I did when I met my wife, I was like, we were chatting and that, and like, I ended up like asking her on a date like 12 times, and she was like, nah. I was like, why not? She's just like not having it. She's like, no. And then I made her feel
mustache,
guilty.
Elliot.
Oh,
it was the mutton sauce, wasn't it?
Yeah, she weren't having it, and then I was like, why not? And she was like, you play in a band. Right, it's what you do. You play music, and you play in bands. You do the covers and that. Yeah, you're busy like all the time. Like, yeah. She was like, and you play fucking video games all the time. It's like, yeah. She's like, and then you have all these other hobbies. Like you work at a paintball site all the fucking time. Your hobbies aren't cheap. I'm not getting involved with someone with expensive hobbies. It's not happening. And then, like, you know.
Now look at you. Now you had a kid with her.
That's it. She's stuck now.
Showed her the magic charm.
Look, there you go. It sums it up. Things haven't changed. Look, I got a fucking Pikachu teddy and a nice guitar on the wall. Things ain't gonna change. But like, you're right. Like, she need. I remember, like, so it was like when Smash came out, the Smash on the Wii U. Like, they announced that at E3, and I was like, oh my god, Smash is coming out. I'm so excited. This is gonna be great. Only 476 days till Smash. Right. And she was like, all right. And then, like, a couple of days later, I'd be like, babe, look, this stage. And she'd be like, and they'd be like, yeah, cool. They're putting, like, I can't remember who was announced, like, Little Max. And she was like, I honestly couldn't give a fuck. Like, just stop telling me about your shit on Smash, right? And this would be it. This was it for like over a year. And then it finally came out on, like, the day of release. And I hadn't said anything in about a month. And she was like, Are you gonna say it or what? I was like, Smash Day. She was like, all right. She whipped out a Wii U for us. Like, here's a Wii U. I was like, oh yeah, sound. I was gonna buy one. She was like, yeah, well, I got you one. Happy days. Oh, fucking result, man. She's like, where you going? I'm like, off to town to get my fucking copy of Smash. She was like, but you didn't have the console in the first place. I was like, yeah, well, don't worry about it. She's like, are you gonna buy a new? She's like, we've got a kid, and you were gonna go buy a new console. I was like, surprise. Like, it's just one of them.
They just don't get it. That's it. You don't get it. You got to understand. This is deep in the heart. Next time, show this podcast. You know, this is how much it means to us. We just spoke about video games for an hour without stopping.
When I'm sat there we had I love the Nintendo Directs, yeah, and we just had one. It was disappointing. Zelda's 35th birthday, and they haven't said anything yet because they're too busy wanking off Super Mario for his 35th birthday. But I think we're gonna get, fingers crossed, we're getting Skyward Sword remake, which was a shit game anyway, not bothered about. But I'm hoping we get Ocarina of Time, like a HD version, which would be what we need. And then Wind Waker.
Sorry, if that came out, I'd buy a Switch immediately.
Yeah, man.
Just straight away.
Like, well, have you not got one? Have you played Breath of the Wild?
My nephew's got a Switch. I played Mario Party like a couple of months ago with a girlfriend. We had a laugh, but
time. You genuinely, like, being a Zelda fan, you need to get hold of
I understand Breath of the Wild. I was really tempted to buy a copy of the Wii U version and not open it, and it's already gone up in £30 in value because I think it's something I want to get into is end of the life games. So like Sega Saturn games and Dreamcast games are worth a lot of money if you don't open them.
Yeah. There was I remember Twilight Princess come out on the Wii and the GameCube.
Yeah,
and then
the whole fortune now.
The whole game was flipped on the Wii because they realized it come out and then Lynx left-handed. Yeah. But 90% of the people with a Wii console use their right hand with the sword. So they literally last minute realized and they just 50-50 mirror swapped the entire game. Imagine that. Imagine getting to that point going, shit. So if you've got the GameCube version, it's the original way. So you're still left-handed with the sword.
Yeah. So again, backwards. That game's worth about 60 quid now, used.
I picked up a copy in Choices for £3 sealed. And remember they used to have them bins of just random games? It was when it was closing. There was about 20 copies in there. And a guy I know was working in there, and he was like, mate, we've got copies of Twilight Princess on the GameCube. Do you want one? I didn't think of it at the time. I'm like, yeah, I'll have one. No worries. He was like, oh, about £4. I was like, oh, yeah, sound. Just grab us one. I can get it off you. Yeah,
are there any difference in graphics? Are there any difference in graphics between the GameCube and the Wii version?
No, it runs better on the Wii. I never opened it. That's one of them that just lives in like.
Oh, you still preserve it?
That one hides, yeah.
Because the Wii can do HD, can't it? In HDMI, so it's obviously better graphics, isn't it?
No, it never did. It was always it was 480 with the old red, yellow, white scar.
Really?
But then so I bought an adapter for it because it was like it made it a bit crisper and it had the. Do you remember the Xbox had it? It was like the red, yellow, white, and then there was like a blue.
Yeah. Five cables, yeah.
AB.
That was. I remember my first time playing HD, right? So the first time I got an Xbox 360 back in 05 Christmas, I got Perfect Dark Zero, and then for my 14th birthday, a few months later, I got a computer, but I got this nice monitor, and I got a HDMI port. So I think that was 720p, and just seeing the picture on an Xbox 360, I was like, whoa. Like, I couldn't believe my eyes, man. I was like, it was unbelievable. And then you go 1080p for the first time. Yeah. You can't go back.
I treated myself to a nice new 4K TV last last summer, ready for the PS5 that I couldn't get hold of anyway.
It's insane.
Joke.
You got one yet?
Nah.
No.
But then, to be fair, I got all hyped up on launch, and I was at work, and we had 9 computers. Like, I work at Amazon now, yeah. So we were trying to find out like how many were there. So we had all these computers on, and we were like, right, figuring out. Me, one of these engineers, we were like sat there, like everyone refreshed. We had everyone in the workshop refreshing on their computers, and like that, they'd gone. So we were there for about an hour, all of us trying to get through. And then my mate, he literally went up on one of the lines. He'd done a breakdown. He whipped his phone out and just thought, well, I'll have a little check. Jumped in on the basket, and it was there. And he add to basket. It would only let him put 1 in. And like 20 seconds later, he's like, right, bought, done. And then it turned up the next day, and he was like, he messaged me like, I got one. I was like, you fucking shitting me. I was like, we've been there for an hour trying. I was like, I've had more people on this than trying to get Glastonbury tickets. And like, you've just wandered off upstairs, nonchalant, randomly check your phone, and it's gone through. And he went, yeah, man, what could I say? I was like, you bastard. But there's no games to play on it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, anything you can play, you can get on the PS4, which I use all the time now anyway. I still think it's one of the best consoles ever. But Resident Evil 8 for me, if I can get one for Resident Evil 8, then I'll be happy. But if not, I'll play it on the PS4.
I'll tell you from my own experiences, I've only got the Series S, but I'm happy with that because the only reason I wanted one was for the backwards compatibility. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about 4K or 8K and all that. But my nephew, he's got the Xbox Series X. My mum recently bought brand new £1,200 TV, which I believe is 4K. So we hooked up his Xbox and all that,
unreal,
right?
Isn't it?
And the only way I could describe it, I think he was playing the new Forza for Xbox Series X, and it's basically like, it's almost like it's 3D without the glasses. The depth perception, the draw distance is so immense. It's like you've never seen anything before like in your life. I've
been tempted before to pick up a PC and start doing that kind of gaming, but it's not for me. Like, I'm a console gamer, like through and through. And as much as I'd like to think, like, yeah, let's get this fucking super spec PC, I'm not bothered. I'll get a PC for doing some streaming and stuff, but like, it's one of them for me. Like, always, like, consoles through and through. And I get it. Like, I've seen
they're only going to get better as well, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. Like, but look at what we're at with hardware at the minute. Like, you know, we've gone from what we perceive as the best you got. Yeah, so you got your 4K, and you can get that on your PS4 Pro or your Xbox One S or your X, you know. But your next gen, like, we're not there yet. We haven't. Like, the jump up was huge, wasn't it? So you've gone from your 360 and your PS3, your 720p to your 1080 was massive. But like, where that generation we're at, we've kind of lost it, because now it's like, right, well, I want 4K, 120 frames per second, like super wank material on your computer. Like, I want to play Fortnite in all these mad glory.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's what I mean. And you look back to our, you know, Final Fantasy VII, right? They don't even have hands.
Polygons.
Yeah. they don't even have hands in that game. It's literally just like little hoods.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, but I don't care. The storyline is breathtaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is these games, like, I remember everyone saying, like, you know, the story in these games are amazing. Like, I was fucking 6 years old. I can't read. I don't give a shit. Like, the gameplay.
I've got something for you,
sells
right?
it.
I remember saying this. I had this conversation myself that I want to say to you, because, you know, when we grew up, there was only so much technology available at any time. And it wasn't even just with games, but it was also with movies. So, like, for example, we've got the MCU now. We've got the DCEU. But when we were younger, we only got, if we were lucky, we would get a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
we'd get
Spider-Man
Ace
2.
in its. Oh yeah, I'll get to that in a second, right? So, but the thing is as well, is like, that's all you got. Like, there was no like fan backlash and all that, and then they would make it up the next movie for you. Like, that didn't exist. It was on its own, and we had to have imagination to
100%.
fill in the blanks. We'd be at school and we'd write our own stories in English, or we'd draw our own pictures and art, and we'd extend these versions. But that's sort of been done now. The developers do that now for the kids. So you've got Fortnite, you've got Minecraft, everything's available in abundance, and they're missing out on this sort of filling in the blanks that we had to do as kids.
Well, it's almost that missing media piece, isn't it? Like you say, we had like your Spider-Man, right? And the closest thing we had similar was like the Spider-Man cartoon. Do you remember that on Fox Kids? Yeah.
And the Batman one kicked ass, man.
Yeah.
But like, Beyond, yeah.
Your Spider-Man one was like the Fantastic Four were in it. Like, if you watched it, all of it, like, you had the Fantastic Four, and then Wolverine would rock up, and it would link into the X-Men cartoon, and like, you could see what they were doing. But mate, even Iron Man 1 come out when we were in school in year 11. And
Walked out of the cinema.
You walked out of the cinema?
Me and my brother walked out. We were like, "This is shit."
You fucking idiot.
I know. I regret it now, but like, because I watched it all now. But I think at that age, my brain was just like, "I want to watch Jane and Bob or something."
That's it. But like, the thing is, it wasn't cool then. Like, it just weren't cool.
Yeah.
And the movies weren't made to be cool. And then, like, X-Men wasn't cool. And that shitty Fantastic Four movies,
X-Men 1
they're
and
not
2
cool.
were fucking great.
All right, but again, they were sort of
weren't cool.
They were
X-Men 2 is a worldie.
But they were limited to the era that they were made in.
Yeah, that's it. And like, it just, I don't know. I've got proper, like, Iron Man 1 hooked me into like this whole world that I used to love the X-Men cartoon. Me and my best mate did, and we'd like watch it all the time. And like play the X-Men, what was it? Like, what were the games? Age of Apocalypse and that. It was like where you do 4 people on the screen, you're running around and you do like, remember the one?
Bird's Eye View.
That's it. Ultimate Alliance was one of them, like the Marvel ones. But no one gave a shit about these films. Like, Blade was cool. Yeah, Blade was cool, but it was like this little shelf. No one really cared. Ghost Rider was a shit film. Everyone panned it. Like, the only cool superhero movies they ever actually got was the Michael Keaton Batman in '89.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 1 and 2. We won't talk about 3.
No.
But like, you got Batman.
Someone cue the fucking Spider-Man 3 tune when he's walking down the street.
You know what's funny though, right? I mean, right, so I'll talk about Spider-Man 2 first before we move on, because obviously the first one I watched it on pirate DVD. My mum knew a guy. Everyone
knew a guy.
Everyone knew a guy that just had dodgy DVDs.
Yeah,
and you watched Korean subtitles on it, and you're like, all right, X-Men 2. Right. But you know,
X-Men.
So I watched Spider-Man on pirate. But then Spider-Man 2, I went with Elliot to the cinema. We went to the Odeon. And I remember a week before getting the game, right? So again, like about 8 months before that, I got the unofficial Nintendo 64 magazine. What was it called? NGC?
It was NVGC. And then the official one was the ONM.
Yes.
Right. Because I remember Nintendo, and then there was NGN or NGC or whatever it was. And they showed the first pictures of Spider-Man 2. And kids don't realize today that you could, up until then, you could never touch the floor on a Spider-Man game. You could, the PlayStation game, you could web twice, and that was it. All right. And then the Spider-Man official tie-in movie game, you couldn't touch the floor.
It's just fog.
There was a fog in the first game, and then in the GameCube version, though, like it just had like 2D cars, just constant traffic. If you went too low, you died.
You just died.
Right? So yeah, you died. So anyway, I seen the screenshots for Spider-Man 2 tie-in movie game, and the Spider-Man running alongside a taxi cab, and I was like, no way, right? And I was obsessed. All of year 7, I was obsessed about this game coming out, and it came out in July. It didn't go to school, right? And again, and I'm playing it, and you got Bruce Campbell doing the narration and all that. I'm like, this is fucking amazing, right? And then obviously a week later, the movie comes out, and me and Elliot, this is like the last couple of days of year 7. And me and Elliot go to see it, and we were just, I can barely remember it. I just remember being blown away by it. You being freaked out by Octavius when he having surgery.
That was crazy. Like, the thing about it, like, I'm a movie buff now. Like, I'm not like, I love a horror film. I just love horror films. I love sci-fi. I love movies. Superhero movies, yeah. Marvel, yeah. DC, they could fuck off. I'm not interested.
Get you on again for a movie podcast, man. You know what I mean? This one's like, fucking...
These fucking films, yeah? Like, they were directed by Sam Raimi, like the fucking Evil Dead. Like,
Evil Dead.
Let's give the guy that made the Evil Dead Spider-Man, and they're just like worldies. But like, you're right, you didn't know what you were getting, you didn't know what you were gonna get. Trailers back then were hilarious. Like, you ever gone back looking at trailers? I'll never forget the Deep Blue Sea one. Like, everyone always was like.
And you always had that voiceover guy, didn't you? The voiceover guy. Because Pablo Francisco does a joke about it, didn't he? His name was Don, wasn't he? He died in 08. And after that, they sort of went for the Inception style of trailers with no voiceover.
So today you will see
Keanu Reeves. Oh, I can't watch trailers anymore, like from that era. I just can't do it. Like, especially the John Grisham movies, you know, because John Grisham did like 10 of the same film or same book, and then they adapted it, Pelican Brief and all that. Like, we didn't know the corruption in the system. You know what I mean? It just goes on and on and on. I can't stand those trailers, but that was our childhood.
Yeah, man. You go into a cinema, like even now, like my wife hates it. She'll go to a movie and she's like, we just missed the trailers. I'm like, fuck off. The trailers are the best bit. Like,
no,
deadly hyped. I'm like, there's gonna be a 30-second snippet on Endgame. There's gonna be a 30-second snippet of like this maybe TV series that they're doing. She's like, are you for real? Like, I'm like, I've seen it 6 times now, and she's like, you're a dickhead. Like, it's just a trailer. Go on YouTube. I'm like, it's not the same.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Because you have to be in that sound, the sound environment, just that kind of boom, boom, boom. And, watching, I feel blessed that I got to watch Spider-Man 2 when it came out, because it probably is one of the best superhero movies ever made, in my opinion. I just think it just, it is a bit, I know it's got that Sam Raimi sort of corniness going on, but that was just
that's cheese. Superhero films then were cheesy. Batman was cheese. Like, and the good Batman was cheese.
He did the Superman 2 sort of storyline where like he gives up his powers and all that, and it was just like, we couldn't believe it. I remember seeing a trailer for Spider-Man 2. I was with Andrew Cameron, right, and we were watching Return of the King in the cinema about 6 months beforehand, and that was the first preview. As you can't, Benny, there was they showed a preview of Spider-Man 2, and I was just like, whoa,
what's going on, man?
That was it. And then we left as soon as school was over, man. We went straight to the cinema, and we were buzzing. We were still on our little shitty ties and that, weren't we?
It was the best. The best. We've gone off on a tangent completely, but like while we're talking cinema, the best movie I've ever seen in the cinema was with Benny.
What was it?
I will let you tell him.
Mean Girls.
No, yeah.
All right.
The best film I've ever watched in the cinema, hands down.
There was the funniest fucking. We had to go watch Resident Evil. And we all got KB, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we were like, right, let's go watch Mean Girls. And we went in, right, and we were the only lads in there. That film, right, is easily in my top 5 films of all time. And like when you just want one of them films, you can just bang on and watch. Like, remember when you were a kid and you would watch a film and then you just rewind the video and you'd watch it again, and I could do that with Mean Girls, and I love it that much. It was the 15-year anniversary edition last year, and like,
get it.
I just sold my house, like, and we were like, right, well,
what, just to buy Mean Girls 15 of it?
Well, we were. Well, I was supposed to be in Luxembourg with work and that, and then because of the coronavirus, it just ruined everyone's day. Anyway, so I had all this like money kicking about, and I was like, right, well, we can't spend the money. Yeah, okay, all right. And I was like, I'm taking a little bit out of the pot because I don't give a fuck. And she went, why? I was like, because Mean Girls, the collector's editions come out, and it's like this fucking burn book. I'll dig it out and send you a picture, right? But it's a burn book, right? Mate, that film was just sick. That was the best cinema experience of my life. Like, never forget it.
Because we weren't expecting much. We just thought,
what's this going to be? Like, oh, it's so funny. So we get KB from Resident Evil, and then we go and watch this film about, like,
high school girls.
I got KB'd at the cinema with Andrew Cameron again. We're going to go see The Ring 2, and they kicked us out, and we had to go watch Robots. To be fair, in hindsight, The Ring 2 was a piece of shit movie, and Robots was amazing.
Yeah,
and even the guy, even the little pimple-faced teenager was like, don't worry about it, lads, the film's shit anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, so, like, back then, like, the cinema was in Kettering, and you got dropped off by your parents or whatever, like, or you've got your bus, like, you've got to pick something, ain't you? Like,
we came all this way, and we're gonna have to watch a movie.
Like, me and Dan watched Scary Movie 4 in the cinema. That was actually really funny.
I don't care what anyone says about that film. I'll always love that movie. And Craig Burko is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah,
he's so underrated.
There's some like go-to funny things like you just say to people, and like. When you say something that's hilarious and they don't understand or they don't get the reference and they just don't get it, right?
Yeah.
I do loads of them from Scary Movie 3, but Scary Movie 4, like someone will say something like, someone said it today.
Did it have a nose?
That does sound like a face.
Definitely sounds like a face.
That does sound like a face.
There was the bit, right? Someone said on the stream today, like my mate's doing his 24-hour stream, right? So we're jumping on, and someone put like this is just chaos. Like you make me want to like, what is it? Like I'm gonna wake up dead or something. And I was just like,
how can you wake up?
How can you wake up dead?
Someone was
like, because you died when you went to bed.
You telling me you can go to bed alive? Well, you can't go to bed alive.
How can it be a rat if it's inside the house?
So you're telling me if a rat is in the house, is it a mouse? If the mouse goes outside the house, is it a rat? Shit!
What makes you laugh as well is like that was Kevin Hart at the early days of his career, like just some kind of cameo, and like now he's like one of the biggest actors in the world.
How do you turn up missing? How do you wake up dead? How do you turn up missing?
Oh man, the one bit Scary Movie 3, the one that makes me giggle every time is when Brenda punches the girl on the TV, and the way she just kind of goes.
Like the bit,
and the way like how long she falls back into the
bit. Cindy, the TV's leaking. He's just fucking gushing.
What was that other joke? What was that phone prank with Clarky? It's like, hi, I'm Rita Dad. I've got a fantastic offer for Cody.
7 days. Who's gay?
Man, who?
I like the bit where he's what would President Ford do in this situation? It just cuts out. President Harrison Ford, like, but then there's the one at the end where the alien's like, no, we're not doing this, like this. You think that's weird? Like, this is how we pee. It's just like, oh, we're not so different after all. Nah, the best, funniest bit about that entire film, right, is when they're out there and doing the signs bit on Scary Movie 3, yeah. And
Tom, I need a ride home.
He's got the shovel, right? He's got the shovel, and he's like, we're here to kick some ass, and he fucking cocks the shovel like a shotgun, and a shell flies out. I was like, oh, someone could say like, everyone just misses it, and I'm just like crying with laughter, like he's just fucking cocked a shovel and a shells flew out. Like, I love that. We're here to decapitate some aliens.
But in Scary Movie 1, when Bobby lives right next to the school, he gets out his trailer. Little John, Big John. Small John.
Big John, catch you later. But you made a joke about that, saying that's how close I live to the school, and I was always late.
Yeah.
Yes. You literally
Big Mum, Small Dad.
They got the caravan washing line connected to the school.
I think they're so underrated. It got silly at like 5. Was it 5? Yeah.
What made it so perfect was like how good they were at recreating the scene. So like I tried watching Signs a couple of years ago, and like they've got that scene perfect where Mel Gibson, the priest, is living the flashback, and he's walking. You can see the guy, the Asian guy, just sat there, right? And like he doesn't say anything, but obviously I just sit in my head like, Tom, I need to ride home. And he's got the baguette, isn't he? He goes, you mean like this? He's got the burrito.
Could I have some? I need some time with the bottom half. What for?
The donut.
He just whips out a hot dog and a donut.
Yeah. And then there's another flashback, and in his head it says
That cracks me up the fucking most.
Oh God. When I was watching Scary Movie 3 for the first time, I was watching it with my dad, right? And my dad's a grown man, he's like a big Glaswegian guy, but I've never heard him squeal before, except when I'm watching Scary Movie 3. So like, Charlie Sheen's son, who wants to be a rapper, he's doing the Eminem parody, and he's like, "Hey, I'm great with kids," goes like that, right? But then he lifts him up, and his fucking head hits the ceiling fan. My dad squealed at that bit. My dad was already laughing, and then that bit, and he goes, "Ah!" Mate, it's so funny.
Number 4 with Sean Paul, and they're walking around. They're doing the War of the Worlds spoof, innit? And he's like, they've got the red weeds everywhere. He's like, yo, you see that red weed? He's like, nope. Smoking it.
When all the electricity goes, and the guy jumps on a skateboard and it doesn't move.
It's the War of the Worlds when it comes out, and it's just the fucking tripod, and it's just an iPod, and it's like, I can't a chameleon.
Vase. What vase?
See, we're in the caption as well in the pods, and it's just that unknown rapper Chingy having a party. Who's Chingy?
Oh mate, my jaw hurts. Those films are great, man. When George Carlin plays the architect in The Matrix.
Yeah, he's trying to touch him. He's like trying to touch him. He's like going over to trying to touch him.
Yeah, he's got a chair, and he's like, I call her Linda. He goes, there's enough space for 2 people. I get awfully lonely down here.
Scary Movie 1 where he finds the boot, and they're like, "Where's the foot?"
It's okay, guys.
He's like, I'm all right. It's okay.
Funny. Them films are great.
Oh, man, Scary Movie 2, like especially at the beginning when it does The Exorcist, and the girl from American Pie just pisses for ages, and her feet are just like.
Isn't it one of the Baldwins? Which of the Baldwins is it? Is he playing the priest? And he's going
Stephen.
in. He's giving it that.
He's the weakest. Yeah.
Steven's in Scary Movie 4.
Yeah. It reminds me of that Family Guy joke when like you've got Alec Baldwin with all his brothers like drinking milk out of the stage. He goes, "Come on, Stephen, you're the weakest."
Oh man, it's so good.
Oh man, brilliant! I love that. You had a nice little bungalow. Like your bungalow was proper well nice. You had the loft conversion and everything.
Sick. I had the best bedroom ever, and then we moved up Lakes, and it was like just.
When did you move up there? What year was that?
I think it was 2015. So I was
Nice part of
year
town.
9.
Though.
Yeah, it's nice, but like imagine taking someone, knows what they're doing, sorting their stuff out, and moving them in year 9, like when you're peak.
Yeah.
You know.
When you start getting your pubes and that.
Yeah. No, I didn't have any by then, I don't think.
For real?
Nah, not for real. I had several.
I was gonna say,
I was a boy, wasn't I? I remember.
I remember being in year 7 and like just seeing my first pube. Like, oh right. I killed him.
I remember at the time I had a girlfriend at the time. Once I moved up there for long. We were like, do you know what? I've got this girlfriend in Kingswood. Like, she's all right. We're just gonna just go and make it non-awkward and just waste our first time with people. And I'll never forget. I remember being at school, right, and then like it got out that, I was in year 9, 13, just had sex, right? And it got out, and I remember getting some like jip, like in the tech lesson, like I can't remember who it was. Someone like, "Oh, fucking edgy, yeah. I've heard you've had sex." I was like, "Yeah, mate, I'm what?" So yeah.
Where did that name come from, Edgy?
I always want to ask that.
I don't even know. Like, I had heart, I had heart surgery when I
Whatever it is, this isn't good. Carry on.
So I was always like quite quiet. I can't even talk. Quiet. I was always like quiet.
I'm a very quiet man. I had heart surgery when I was younger. I'm very quiet.
Like animated porn.
I'm gonna Google it.
Freudian slip.
That guy died, didn't he? He wasn't in charge of the high ground. He jumped over the devil and he was stabbed in the tummy. That was him, wasn't it?
That was Anakin Skywalker in episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith.
So when I was in year 6, I was
like, there's too many of them. Sorry.
Right. So
I have the higher ground, Anakin. Sorry, carry on.
You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you. 20 minutes ago, I loved you.
Oh, there.
Sorry, carry on.
Padme's like, oh, nah, I'm 20 years older than you, but what's this? You kill kids? Have my baby.
Are you an angel?
Brett brought that up a couple of months ago. He was like, saying that about Padme loves Anakin, even though he killed fucking kids and a whole family of sand people for no reason.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, they had his mum, didn't they?
Yeah.
Not just the men, but the women and children too. That guy was always
correct term is sand people, Sean. Sorry.
And they'll be back in greater numbers.
Oh yeah, French hobos are like that. You know what I mean? They just pop up out of nowhere. They fight and easy. They'll be back and in great numbers. Yeah. Right. Sorry, carry on. Where did the name come from?
I had heart surgery, right? And before that, I was pretty quiet and timid-ish and not massively, not tall, not majorly fit in that, like, but I don't know what happened, right? But I had heart surgery and I come out of it like this fucking hyperactive, mental, like, fucking kid on speed, right? And my mum and dad were like, all right. They were like, well, they'll never be the biggest, they'll never be the tallest or the fastest and that. And I come out like fucking. I think the heart surgery gave me autism or something. I don't know. It's never been diagnosed or confirmed. Maybe they don't want to make a case, have heart surgery, but you'll get ADHD. Like, But,
at least you don't walk around on your tiptoes.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. But I don't know. At one point, like, I think I used to walk around. This was when, like, when you do weird things when you're at like young school. Yeah. I used to walk around in the playground. Everyone was like, oh, just, I don't know. We used to run around and play bulldog, and I just used to like chant like a gorilla. And they were like, sound like you saying edgy, so we're gonna call you Edgy. I was like, all right, and that was it. It just never went, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah. It's like Benny, and it's like no one really calls me much anymore. But...
Yours makes sense because you look like Benny from the Mummy.
Yeah, I get it.
It's so good.
It could be worse. I got called Pikey. Like, but here's the thing, right? So I got called Pikey for a couple of years at school, and like I just kind of got over it. But then I've become a lifeguard in a town 200 miles away, and they just start calling me Pikey. I'm like, fuck, I'll never escape this name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
I started streaming. I had to make up a new name, and now like people are like, oh, Beelzebub. I'm like, what?
Beelzebub. Where does that come from?
Well, I wanted Elzy Boy.
Yeah, alright, yeah.
When me and Ali would play Smash, it would be Alzy and Elzy. Right? I don't know why. And then boy on the end because I'm a boy.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
I have a penis.
PP. And then I think I went to make it as an account on the Xbox at the time, and then because I'd forgot my old password, I couldn't have Elzy Boy anymore. I was like, oh fuck, let's put a B and an E in front of it because I don't want to put letters at the end of it. Then let's turn it into a word. And I was like, Beelzebub, Beelzeboy. Yeah, makes no sense. And I like, and it's one of them like it doesn't even matter because like in our Discord and the chat and that, some people just call me like Beelzy or Belly Boy is my favourite.
Belly Boy.
Some of them are just like, all right, Belly Boy. I'm like, yeah, that'll do. Whatever. Sure day, mate.
Mate, I had to go for about 3 different gamer tags before I come up with Snicklefritz. I had Red Eye Jed 1 at one stage.
Yeah, I remember that.
My original one was Greedy Benny. That was what Xbox gave me.
Mine used to be Pedal. Like, I'll tell you the origin of that story. So I used to hang out with Andy Dixon and his brother, and all the years above used to come around. We'd do 4-player split screen, and there was a guy called Ham. Was it Ham?
Yeah, I remember Ham.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Bike, like bike, like pedal bike," and that was it. And like we used to do like these Halo LAN parties in my house. So we'd have like we were in year 10 at the time, so we'd have the year 10s in one room. There'd be me, Benny, Brett, and Richard Morrison in one room, and then we'd have Tulloch, Clarkey, Ham, and James, I think his name was, or Greg. Sorry, his name was Greg. And like we were playing Juggernaut, and I'd start using unlimited rocket launchers, and you could hear Ham in their room go, "Fuck's sake, pedal." And Greg's like, "Oh, James, leave him alone." He goes, "Shut up, I'll punch you in a minute and all." And one time he took a shit in my toilet, right, and the losing team had to sit in the toilet for 5 minutes, and all you could hear was and he's like, "Come on, lads, it's not that bad." It's like, "It's your shit, Ham."
Your shit never smells as bad, does it, with other people's?
No, sometimes I did one a couple of weeks ago. I was like, "No, man, that's get the Nutridol out on that one."
I've got the vanilla spray from Asda, mate. It works wonders.
VIP.
Very important poo. Anyway, we nearly hit the 2-hour mark, mate. Is there anything you want to say?
Oh shit! Is this all staying in? Is it? Or are you gonna cut all of that last?
I don't know. I mean, it's alright.
I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna start chatting random shit about video games, so then you can put it back on topic.
Yeah, like I said, we're still quite low key, so we don't need to worry about names.
Nah, it's quality. Like it's just cool. Just cool. Thanks for having us on, man.
We'll probably keep it. Yeah, we'll probably keep it all in. Fuck it.
YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO. I don't care.
It was that was a laugh. Like I think we pretty much covered everything. Really, I summed up my life in a minute, and then we done games, some historical stuff, and then we ended up on superhero movies.
Yeah.
Then we went on, and it just went downhill from there onto some ridiculous stuff from school that was just so funny. Like,
yeah, man. I love it.
It's just nice for practice. I mean, I thank you for being on the podcast. It gives us practice. Gives me a chance to check out the new kit and all that, and gives me a chance to just chill.
People love it as well, man. I've had people from like I ain't spoke to in years just pop out of nowhere like, "Love the podcast."
Well, that's what I seen it. I messaged Dan, like I'd had him on Instagram for a bit, and then it popped up, and I thought, you know what, you're really good at interviewing people, and it's a laugh.
Yeah, and it's nice to do a more laid back one, because the only other laid back one we've done was Jake Crawford.
Yeah.
And it was just such a good vibe, and I thought, right, well, let's do another one like that where we actually know the person on person.
You want to see if you can get hold of like all these random old people from school, like see if you can.
Give me some names. I'll write some.
Ian Neverstreet. I want to see what he's up to.
Ian.
Like, he's still doing those Vegeta Sonic comics. He used to sit in the library, didn't he? He used to sit in the library like that. You know, he'd murder you if he fucked with him, man. He was dynamite.
I liked Ian, man. He was cool in his own little mad way.
He had his little Obi-Wan ponytail thing going on, didn't he?
Yeah.
I used to sit next to him in art, and he had me in his little story once.
I used to sit next to him in year 7. He used to like do that with his foot for some reason. I don't know why. He just sort of like go like that with it. I don't know why he did that. He was autistic, you know. I'm not going to judge the guy. You know what I mean? That's what he did.
Yeah,
I can't really reenact.
Talent.
You just cross
I felt
one
sorry
over.
for him one day when he lost his book and someone destroyed it. My heart went out for him that
Oh,
day.
that's shit, man. Some of the sort of shit that happens at school is just brutal. Isn't it?
There was this kid called Tom. We were in year 11 and he was in year 7. He used to jump in bins for some reason. And one time,
I remember this guy.
Someone kicked him in the back of the heel on the bridge, right? And he went and fell down and started rolling. And we all just, well, I mean, I was sort of there. I didn't say anything, but everyone was like, roll, roll, roll. People started opening doors for him because he went past the library and he was heading for the stairs. And they was going, roll, roll, roll. And he got to the stairs. And as soon as he started tumbling down the stairs, everyone just fucking cheered. And Tasha McCulloch came along like, you guys, come along, Tom, let's get you to the classroom.
Oh no, like year 11, like I was just, year 11 school was like something else. Like just being like, you'd be at IT, right?
You
and
had
then
a nice little bungalow. Like, your bungalow was proper well nice. You had the loft conversion and everything.
Sick. I had the best bedroom ever. And then we moved up Lakes, and it was like, just
When did you move up there? What year was that?
I think it was 2015. So I was
Nice part of
year
town.
9.
Though.
It's nice, but like imagine taking someone, that knows what they're doing, sorting their stuff out, and moving them in year 9, like when you're peak.
Yeah.
You know.
When you start getting your pubes and that.
Yeah. No, I didn't have any by then, I don't think.
For real?
Nah, not for real. I had several.
I was gonna say,
I was
I
a
remember,
boy, wouldn't I? I remember.
I remember being in year 7 and I just seeing my first pube, like, all right. I killed him.
I remember at the time I had a girlfriend at the time. Once I not moved up there for long. We were like, do you know what? I've got this girlfriend in Kingswood. Like, she's all right. We're just gonna just go and make it non-awkward and just waste our first time with people. And I'll never forget. I remember being at school, right, and then like it got out that, I was in year 9, 13, just had sex, right? And it got out, and I remember getting some like jip, like in the tech lesson, like I can't remember who it was. Someone like, oh, fucking edgy, yeah. I've heard you've had sex. I was like, yeah, mate, I'm what? So yeah.
Where did that name come from, Edgy?
I always want to ask that.
I don't even know. Like, I had heart, I had heart surgery when I
Whatever it is, this isn't good. Carry on.
So I was always like quite quiet. Can't even talk. Quiet. I was always like quiet.
I'm a very quiet man. I had heart surgery when I was younger. I'm very quiet.
Like animated porn.
I'm gonna Google it.
Freudian slip.
That guy died, didn't he? He wasn't in charge of the high ground. He jumped over the devil and he was stabbed in the tummy. That was him, wasn't it?
That was Anakin Skywalker in episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith.
So when I was in year 6, I was
like, there's too many of them. Sorry.
Right. So
I have the higher ground, Anakin. Sorry, carry on.
You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you. 20 minutes ago, I loved you.
Oh, there.
Sorry, carry on.
Padme's like, oh, nah, I'm 20 years older than you, but what's this? You kill kids? Have my baby.
Are you an angel?
Brett brought that up a couple of months ago. He was like, saying that about Padme loves Anakin, even though he killed fucking kids and a whole family of sand people for no reason.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, they had his mum, didn't they?
Yeah.
Not just the men, but the women and children too.
The correct term is sand people, Sean. Sorry.
And they'll be back in greater numbers.
Oh yeah, French hobos are like that. You know what I mean? They just pop up out of nowhere. They fight an easy, but they'll be back and in great numbers. Yeah. Right. Sorry, carry on. Where did the name come from?
I had heart surgery, right? And before that, I was pretty quiet and timid-ish and not massively, not tall, not majorly fit in that, like, but I don't know what happened, right? But I had heart surgery and I come out of it like this fucking hyperactive, mental, like, fucking kid on speed, right? And my mum and dad were like, all right. They were like, well, they will never be the biggest, they'll never be the tallest or the fastest and that. And I come out like fucking. I think the heart surgery gave me autism or something. I don't know. It's never been diagnosed or confirmed. Maybe they don't want to make a case. Have heart surgery, but you'll get ADHD. Like, But,
at least you don't walk around on your tiptoes.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. But I don't know. At one point, like, I think I used to walk around. This was when, like, when you do weird things when you're at like young school. Yeah. I used to walk around in the playground. Everyone was like, like, just, I don't know, it wouldn't it? We used to run around and play Bulldog, and I just used to like chant like a gorilla. And they were like, sound like you're saying edgy, so we're going to call you Edgy. I was like, all right. And that was it. It just never went. And I fucking hate it.
Yeah. It's like Benny, and it's like, no one really calls me much anymore. But...
Yours makes sense because you look like Benny from The Mummy.
Yeah, I get it.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
Could be worse. I got called Pikey. Like, but here's the thing, right? So I got called Pikey for a couple of years at school, and like I just kind of got over it. But then I've become a lifeguard in a town 200 miles away, and they just start calling me Pikey. I'm like, fuck, I'll never escape this name.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I started streaming. I had to make up a new name, and now like people are like, oh, Beelzeboy. I'm like, what?
Beelzeboy. Where does that come from?
Well, I wanted Elzy Boy.
Yeah, alright, yeah.
When me and Ali would play Smash, it would be Alzy and Elzy. Right? I don't know why. And then boy on the end, because I'm a boy.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
I have a penis.
I have a pee-pee. And then I think I went to make it as an account on the Xbox at the time. And then because I'd forgot my old password, I couldn't have Elzy Boy anymore. I was like, oh, fuck. Let's put a B and an E in front of it, because I don't want to put letters at the end of it. And let's turn it into a word. And I was like, Beelzebob, Beelzeboy. Yeah. Makes no sense. And it's one of them, like, it doesn't even matter, because like in our Discord and the chat and that, some people just call me like Beelzy, or Belly Boy is my favourite.
Belly Boy.
Some of them are just like, all right, Belly Boy. I'm like, yeah, that'll do. Whatever. Sure day, mate.
Mate, I had to go through about 3 different gamer tags before I come up with Snicklefritz. I had Red Eye Jed 1 at one stage.
Yeah, remember that.
My original one was Greedy Benny. That was what Xbox gave me.
Mine used to be Pedal. I'll tell you the origin of that story. So I used to hang out with Andy Dixon and his brother, and all the years above used to come around. We'd do 4-player split screen, and there was a guy called Ham. Was it Ham?
Yeah, I remember Ham.
Yeah.
And he goes, bike, like pedal bike, and that was it. And like we used to do like these Halo LAN parties in my house. So we'd have like we were in year 10 at the time, so we'd have the year 10s in one room. There'd be me, Benny, Brett, and Richard Morrison in one room, and then we'd have Tulloch, Clarkey, Ham, and James, I think his name was, Greg. Sorry, his name was Greg. And like we were playing Juggernaut, and I'd start using unlimited rocket launchers, and you could hear Ham in their room go, "Fuck's sake, pedal." And Greg's like, "Oh, James, leave him alone." He goes, "Shut up, I'll punch you in a minute and all." And one time he took a shit in my toilet, right, and the losing team had to sit in the toilet for 5 minutes, and all you could hear was and he's like, "Come on, lads, it's not that bad." It's like, "It's your shit, Ham."
Your shit never smells as bad, does it, than other people's?
No, sometimes I did one a couple of weeks ago. I was like, "No, man, that's get the Nutridol out on that one."
I've got the vanilla spray from Asda, mate. It works wonders.
VIP.
Very important poo. Anyway, we nearly hit the 2-hour mark, mate. Is there anything you want to say?
Oh shit! Is this all staying in? Is it? Or are you gonna cut all of that last?
I don't know. I mean, it's all right.
I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna start chatting random shit about video games, so then you can put it back on topic.
Yeah, like I said, we're still quite low key, so we don't need to worry about names.
Nah, it's quality. Like, it's just cool. Thanks for having us on, man.
We'll probably keep it. Yeah, we'll probably keep it all in. Fuck it.
YOLO.
Amanda Thripp. Your mother is a twit. Sorry, I was quoting Matilda. But that was the first time I ever saw in the cinema. That was Corby Cinema back in '96. I watched that.
Actually. I can't remember the first film, but I know that the Pokemon movies. I remember my mum saying she took me to go see the Pokemon movie, and where that bit where Ash turned to stone, she said she didn't quite understand, right? But all these kids just started crying. She's like, "I'm stuck in the cinema," and like all these kids just start crying, and all the parents looking at each other like, "What the fuck?" And it's just like 200 kids like, "Ah!" crying.
Yeah, no, I remember the last time I was at a cinema when it got emotional. I wasn't crying, but people were watching Endgame, and people were just fucking out loud sobbing.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't sobbing, like, but I was like, my eyes were gone. I was like streaming. I was like,
I got sad at Old Man Captain America. That got to me. That one did. The Iron Man not so much, because that was kind of like gonna happen ananyway.
You know what the worst thing in that film for me was? It was the bit with Ant-Man. You know, when he goes back and he sees his daughter and she's grown up. Like, see when you have kids, right?
Right. Yeah, I get you.
Everything changes. Like, the movies you watch that affect you and that, like, everything changes. And that one got me. I was like, "Bleh."
Last time I cried at something was Lost.
Yeah.
Deeply and sorrowfully.
Well, that's on Star now, which is the new Disney thing. So
Yeah,
it's Lost. So I'm gonna check that out. Anyway, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I've got to phone my sister. Something important. But so I apologise to have to. I mean, I can just leave and you guys can carry on. It's up to you. But
I said peace out.
Peace out.
You know the situation, Benny. I got to take this phone call. So.
Yeah, man, it's cool, dude.
Peace. Nice to see you again. Yeah, we'll do this again.
We'll do this again. Yeah, like I said,
100%,
we've only been doing this not even 6 weeks, and it's going well. You know, I mean, the momentum's consistent, and I've got the kit now. I'm upgrading, and you know, just figuring out now. Got some good stuff coming up.
Itchy. Your name's Leo.
Yeah, Leia. But yeah, no, honestly, thanks for this, mate. It's nice catching up with you as well. So we'll do this again soon, all right? We'll catch up with you in a couple of months.
Yeah, man. Welcome out. It was cool, bro.
Leia.
Take it
Take it
easy.
easy.